call it.
That's exactly what it is, shiny object. And yeah, so I'm leaving that alone. I looked at it while I was killing 2 minutes before the call, but I deleted it right after. So I was like, I can't start reading this. Next thing you know, I'll be going crazy. Last thing I need. I got enough to focus on everything here. So it's always good to kind of be thoughtful of that. Cool. So is there any other questions you guys had about your particular deal that I can help with before, because I know I'll be looking for some pics or, a video or something tomorrow when you go. That way I can just give you a better feel for the, the overall ARV. But the deal, like I ran it earlier on the call and it was like, the deal's good. I mean, it's a really good deal. So you'll be solid. No, that's 180 if you can actually lock that up. But obviously let's see the inside, but I would say be prepared to kind of jump on it if it is a good deal.
Yeah, I just texted the agent. Tomorrow I'm planning to meet with them between 10 and 12. We'll have a contract on hand. We'll put the offer in, but
Okay.
but I will certainly. My plan is to take pictures, take videos, and even trying to get a floor plan in, so you can take a look at it and see if it's a good
Yeah.
clip. Then what I will do is put it on a Google Drive and forward it to you so you can take a look at it.
Okay. Got it. Yep. Send it to me. What I would say is this, don't wait on me because I'll be able to get to you as soon as between a break. But what we want to figure out, what is the minimum information you need to make sure that the house you should be putting it under contract. One of the things that allows me to win is being able to narrow my focus down. If I try to have all the answers when I'm in negotiations with someone, I tend to miss out and lose deals essentially because, I get too in the weeds trying to in that little bit of time that I spend trying to get all the details done actually causes me to lose the deal. So tomorrow you're going to be looking for this. It's definitely a good house. We know that style of house, there's nothing we have to worry about. We'll be able to make it into whatever we need. You got 1,800 square feet. So there's no doubt that we're not going to be able to make it something special and put the perfect amount of bedrooms, bathrooms. You're going to be looking for things you can't change. You can't change if it's on a weird lot or, it's it doesn't have a backyard or something crazy like that. If you get in there and there's a major foundation issue in the basement that's really scary, something like that would be important. And we would just be focused on that one thing. Can we fix everything else looks good? What's it going to take to fix the major foundation issue? And after we calculate that cost in, would the deal still make sense? And, what could our offer be if that's the case? So that's what we're always looking at. If you get there tomorrow and you look in there and it's just a beat up house that needs work and, rehab, well, 80K covers all that. If it needs a roof, it needs windows, a little bit of layout change and a little bit of plumbing and electric and, maybe a wall taken out here and there. You'll be able to do all that for 80K. The only concern would be things, again, that could really affect the value, like a neighbor's really dirty or nasty. And there's just something that's a really big problem that you're concerned about. And then what I would do is actually focus on that problem, maybe send me some pics and say, Mike, I've seen this big problem. What do you think? Other than that, if you can get it for 180, I would actually say start going forward with the 180 because there's a lot of room in there at 180. There's room for it to be more money. There's room for so many things at 180 for it to still be a great deal. And what you don't want to take, your biggest risk tomorrow would be not doing it fast enough and potentially somebody coming in and taking it from you. Because I would imagine other people are looking at this house and, so when you see it tomorrow, I'm assuming that the reason that it's probably not under contract is it must be pretty bad in there. But 80K, we're kind of planning on pretty bad. So focus on the things that look out of the norm, not just the, hey, it needs, because if we do, you can do a drawing. I'm glad you'll have all that, but we're going to look and say, how's the fastest way we can get this under contract and make it work? I have calls tomorrow, but depending on do you have a specific time you're going to be there?
No, the contractor. No, the contractor haven't responded back. So I'm just no, the realtor haven't responded back. I'm waiting for a response.
Okay, got it. Well, once you know your time, let me know. I do have some calls and I might be able to squeeze it in. Looks like I have maybe between 11 and 12. I've got a little bit of space. And then, yeah, it should be good. Other than that, I might be able to squeeze in after. I got a couple small appointments. So, yeah, just let me know when you know a time, okay? And that way, if I can make that work, I'll try to be there to answer quick questions. Because what would be ideal is hey, man, I'm at the house. If I'm free, I could be hey, just FaceTime me real quick. Let's just look at it, right? And then I can tell you right off the FaceTime, like, Gigi's focus on doing this and getting it done. Because from there, and then we'll answer all the questions after you're under contract, because answering too many questions today could really cause you to lose. Anytime it's a good deal and there's a lot of profit in it, like, I always like treat it as if someone's just waiting to come swipe it away, which they are. They are, by the way, and I think it's because I've been traumatized. I've lost a lot of deals like putting around.
All right, got it. Thanks a lot.
Cool, man. All right, talk to you soon about that. How can I help anyone else? Kim, I know you have your marketing going. How's it going? If you can hear me.
Hey, Mike. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so far I don't have any responses from that.
Has
So
it spent any money?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
So there may be, some little switch somewhere or something that isn't all connecting right. And I was gonna, see if I could figure that out, and then.
Well, get Tanya on and figure it out.
Okay.
Send her a text now and just say, "Hey, Tanya, can we talk tomorrow?" And I'll
Okay.
put you on the schedule, because
Okay.
nothing's being spent or nothing's coming in, and maybe it is a switch.
Yeah.
It's a complicated enough program that, like, it totally could be something that just got missed and hasn't been done. So,
Right.
and because usually you would be spending money at least, right? At least spending some dollars to start with.
Yeah. Yeah. And then things are still up in the air on the other house. The sellers have decided to try to have their tenants buy them out. Their attorney did not follow through on the eviction, and then he left. And so where it stands right now is, if the tenants don't have the money in the seller's hands by January 31st, then it's mine. That's kind of where it is.
What do you mean the sellers are going to buy the house, you're saying?
The tenant.
The tenant's going to buy the house? Oh.
Yeah, which is a stepdaughter. They want her out. They want her gone. But
Well, why would they try to let her buy it? Like, why would they even give her that time?
They feel an obligation to her, and they had started, they had been trying to figure things out with her before I got the contract signed. I got the contract signed pending the eviction, contingent upon the eviction. And then their lawyer derailed them and got them into negotiating with the tenant, who wants to stay and wants to try to buy it out, but she's a crackhead. And
yeah. And she's only got 2 weeks to do it. Like, I might struggle to try to get it done in 2 weeks. Geez, how's she going to do it in 2 weeks? So she's not. It's just another stall tactic. Okay.
It is, but it's a reduced. I did make the offer that you suggested, 10 grand less for me to do the eviction and take that problem off of their hands. Okay. And so that's what they're basically, and they ran that by their attorney and everything. And their attorney says, yes, that's fine. She can do that.
The opportunity to get them to want to do that might be pretty great if around the 31st, this girl doesn't follow through and creates more headaches. They might start to get to the end of their rope, is what I'm getting at. So that I'm glad you offered it to them, because when you lay an offer like that, people will call back and take it eventually.
Yeah. So they said, if they don't have money in hand on January 31st, it's mine. That's what they've told me.
It's yours at the 10K less?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. So then I think you're in a great spot, because I'm pretty sure there's not going to be any money in their hand. I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah, it's a reduced amount, because the tenant says that, she's paid all this money toward the purchase price. So, if they're trying to buy them out for, like, I don't know, probably somewhere between 20 and 30 grand. And I don't think she's even going to be able to come up with that.
Oh, so she's just going to give them 30 grand and that's it? They're not even going to take all their money?
Yeah. And I've offered them 50 and I'll do the eviction. But they have this, this obligation to her, and they felt like they were selling it out from underneath her if they didn't at least give her one more chance. This is like her 6th chance and her 6th extension.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, then, I doubt she'll come
That's
up
where
with
it
anything
is.
Different. Okay, she's just stalling, getting more time. That's what it sounds like. She's just trying to get a couple more weeks, right? And then I noticed that with drug addicts, they're always like very unaware of reality. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make it work." If, you know, I can't even have $10 to get more drugs, but I'm going to find
Right.
like 30K. We'll do it. 2 weeks.
Right.
You know,
Right.
credit's like 0. I got like 3. Credit score is 3. It's like a single number. Like, we're going to
Right.
work
She
though.
doesn't even have a job.
Yeah,
So,
no income, no credit, and a drug problem.
and they can't get it insured with the condition that it's in. They can. I can because I know how to do it, but they
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
not going to have any. There's nobody going to lend them money on that for sure. I agree.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So, I'm hoping that'll pan out. But I'm still aggressively looking at everything else in every
Okay.
way I can.
Awesome.
Yeah, I come across a situation here a lot where if it's a bank-owned property, that in order just to submit an offer, you have to be pre-approved by the seller's preferred lender.
Well, that's just when you're doing financing. That's not going to be otherwise. You don't have to do
It's
that.
just to make I know, I mean, you don't have to use them, but just
No,
to
but you know, it's not a
submit-
pre-approval. That only accounts for retail purchases. They say that here too, but you just have to know how to go around that. That's not going to, if you tell them you're
Oh,
cash, it's not going to be for cash people or hard money.
okay.
You just tell them
So
your hard
that's
money
the go
is.
around. Okay.
Well, yeah, they're getting approved by the seller's lender, but only so that the seller knows that you're really truly pre-approved, which is a weird thing to ask, but it's only for retail buyers who are using retail regular financing.
Oh,
You know, this
okay.
wouldn't be for someone using hard money or cash.
Oh, good. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Because
Well,
literally, I tell everyone I'm cash, and then I just, I just take and fluff up my bank account if I don't have enough money in it. But if you do have enough money sitting in a bank account or an equity line, and just say you're cash, and be like, "Here's your equity line to buy it."
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And then you can still use hard money, by the way. I commonly do
Yes.
that, where they get mad at me and they're like, "You're supposed to tell us that," and I'm like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry." And then I just do it anyhow, and I've been doing that for 11 years, and it's not really backfiring.
Okay,
yet.
so tell them cash, but then when it's
Yes.
time to get down to it, it's yeah.
It doesn't really change anything. You're not changing the terms of the contract because you're not going to, it's
Right.
not like, oh, I need more time to settle. You're not saying it's contingent upon me getting a loan. So whether
Right.
you use hard money or cash, they get their money either way. That
Right.
like you getting a loan has nothing to do with them. When the only time it affects or has anything to do with them is if you're saying, hey, I'm getting a loan and I need to be contingent upon that loan. Well,
Gotcha.
that affects the deal. So they'll just make you sign a piece of paper, and they kind of have to let you do it because can't really stop you from doing it. I've never lost a deal over it from the bank. I've had them many times talk some crap to me, but just as recently as
Okay.
my last deal I bought actually from Fannie Mae, I think, and they're like, "This is cash, and you're supposed to tell us it wasn't cash." And I'm like, "Oh, my bad. I thought it was the same thing. It's hard money." I actually said, I told him, I said, "Well, it's just my investor. It's just the same as cash. Like, what's the difference?" Like, "Yeah, but it's not actually because you're putting a loan on it, so they got to tell them." I'm like, "Well, just let them know then. I'll sign a piece of paperwork." She's like, "Okay." And I'm like,
Okay.
so they sometimes don't say anything, sometimes they do, but they never kill the deal. And what I will tell you 100% is they will pick cash offers over hard money offers.
Okay.
They literally, I've won deals where the agent's been like, "You're the same offer, but you're cash. We're going to accept yours."
Okay.
So yes, I like to put it in as cash and then beg for forgiveness later.
Okay. All right. Well, that's about where I am. I got pretty excited about one property. It was a good solid hour on the interstate south of here that just had a $50,000 reduction. And that's one of the few properties that's been a private seller. It's an estate. And that just happened yesterday and it's already pending this morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, and the reduction sell price was 200,000 and the highest comp I could find was 289.
Okay.
So that's after, and it just needed, just a complete rehab. It wasn't in horrible condition at all. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been a top of the, number rehab. It would have been, It was a big house.
Quick cleanup.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
a redo. I mean, everything
Yeah.
was outdated to everything needed to be redone, but still that's the biggest, spread. That was after a $50,000 reduction.
Well, yeah. Sounds like the MLS is a little dead there. I mean, we've definitely, you could probably stop wasting your time on the MLS and start doing anything that's not the MLS at this point. Because the thing is, once we kind of determine that it's not going to work, then, like everything in life, don't spend an extra second on it right now. Just let it be. Any focus or time you would have put into that, let's find a new place to put it. We obviously know you'll have your PPC going, but ultimately too, has there been another way you've gotten deals that didn't cost money? Have you ever gotten a free deal there, or has it always been paid?
No, it's always been direct mail for us.
Okay.
We did signs. We didn't get anything from that. I can't, the wholesalers don't, there's no inventory for the wholesalers either. So right now, everybody that I know whose list I'm on and who I contact regularly to find out and ask, and nobody has anything right now. So I'm hoping this other deal that I do have the contract on goes through, because I think it's close, and I would like to do, and it's going to be a full-fledged rehab for me, with you by my side. I'd really like to do that big, huge rehab for me. It's something that's close. That's not, an hour plus.
That makes sense. Well, we'll keep focusing on the PPC, and then look and see if there's like some of the things that works pretty well. Is there any like houses that are in bad shape, or the areas you're looking in? Do you have any areas you could ride through? And Pete asked what PPC was. It's a pay per click. It's Google advertising. We do a little bit of that here, but it's more of a higher level advanced stuff. But just so everybody knows locally, even my higher level students are not doing PPC locally, because last year I did 41 deals. I got 3 of them from PPC and 38 of them from wholesalers MLS. So just so you guys know, like there's a lot of free deals. Like I haven't even started to scratch the surface of the free deals. I cut it off quite often. So there's no reason to spend money to get deals unless you have to. Kim thoroughly vetted the possibility of the MLS working or not working before she decided to start spending money. So she responsibly took that time to get used to looking at deals, playing the sandbox. And then when we found that it just conclusively was not going to work, no matter what magic we put on it, now she's doing PPC, which is pay per click, which is the next thing that if we teach that only to people that are in markets that absolutely need it. So like Kim's doing it, a guy, Mike Chow's doing it in Toronto, Alec is doing it in San Diego, and then Jeff's doing it in Sacramento, California, because the MLS is pretty crushed in these areas, and then she's doing it in Washington. So that's the areas we tend to do it in, and it's always a plan B, but it's not a smart plan B if you're local to Maryland. Could be something for Wave potentially. We'll have to find out, but I think she did find her deals on the MLS so far, so it seems like she's able to find those. So we never want to spend money if we don't have to. It's the number one lesson I've learned is that for many years I spent 25 grand a year to get a lot of deals, and you know what? And it was interesting when I was spending all that money to get deals. Guess what? I wasn't getting many of was the free deals, because I was spending all my energy and time and all my focus on the paid deals. So I always believe, like, if you don't have enough time and energy to focus on everything properly, then focus on the free stuff first, because it's very easy to do 10 deals a year off of free stuff. I mean, you don't even have to break a sweat to do that in Maryland, and in most states, by the way. Almost every state I've ever worked, it's been easy. But just one of those things. Same thing. Baltimore, and mailing is the exact same thing. So we don't focus on doing any kind of mailing. I've done mailing up until I just stopped doing it about 9 months ago. But I just found that, like, when I did mailing, I focused on the mailing, and I didn't get as many MLS. So my net outcome was not more. I just spent more money. When I was spending about $8 grand a month, all the way up until February of 2019. So about, roughly a year ago. And I was spending that money because I needed a lot of deals. So so I totally like mailing works. Bandit signs will work if you stick with them. You should usually do them. You've pretty much never seen a market they don't work. They might require more effort. Mailings always work, but might require more effort. PPC is pay per click. It's a little more advanced, harder to do. It takes like some actual skill to do it. That's awesome and works really well. And then doing like driving for dollars works very well. And if you have a neighborhood that has actual properties that needs work, but again, it's about how you do it and whether you're willing to make those cold calls, because driving for dollars works best when you drive them, you find them, you send them a letter, you door knock them, and you cold call them. If you're just going to call them and then try to send them a letter or call them only, it doesn't work as well. And the reason why is because when you get the numbers, they're often not great numbers. So like you could do a lot of calling and be going like, Burger King, that's the thing. And I've actually Burger King was one of the numbers we had on our cold calling list about 9 months ago when our cold caller was working. So If you're going to do driving for dollars, it works best when you're willing to make those quick calls and just say, hey, Gigi, I noticed you had a house over on 123 Main Street, and I was curious, have you ever thought about selling it? I'm a local investor in the neighborhood, and I'm looking to buy a house or two, and I don't know, have you thought about selling that house? And it's super easy. It's not even a hard cold call because most people are kind of happy to hear from you. Like, no, I haven't thought about it. Well, I mean, let me ask you, what are you doing with it? I've noticed it over there. I rode by it, had some high grass, and, I was just wondering, like, what was your plans for it? That's it. And it's very easy because I have to be honest, I'm a very good cold caller, but I'm not naturally, I hate cold calling. It's kind of like, yeah, it's not something I choose to do. I only became great at it because I did it for a really long time and I trained the team to do it. So I had to become good at it in order to actually be able to train others to do it. And, but I will tell you that when I started trimming down the things I did, the first thing to go was cold calling. Because I don't like doing it and I don't like managing something that I don't like doing, but it is effective. It does work well. It will get you in front of people. It'll get you, but the key to cold calling is getting a good list and making sure you go through all that. So there's, and honestly, I can't even give you a recommendation on what that is right now. If somebody is interested in doing that, I would suggest that, let's talk about it and I'll do some research with you because I could tell you what I was using a year ago, but to be honest, it's going to change. It changes all the time who's selling the best list. So I think cold calling though works well when it's a house you've seen because now you're not calling 1,000 people. What I dislike is getting this really big list and then just like calling all the people like randomly. I really like if you went seeing 10 properties a day or 20 a week even, sent them a letter. It costs you $1 each. It's $20 in marketing. Maybe go ahead and put a note on a door while you're there or knock on the door and just see if anyone's home and put a little note, like a little sticky note on the door is really awesome. While you're there, knock on it, put a sticky note, and then send them a letter and then cold call them. If you do all those things, then driving for dollars is very effective. But if you just drive and then, don't follow through, don't send them a letter, don't cold call them or do one of the many things you should do, then it can be really problematic and it doesn't work as well. But yeah, it does. I will tell you this though. I've had people do the driving for dollars, like Sabina, one of my higher level students was doing it because she wanted to buy rentals. So she just started like calling people and skip tracing them and doing all that. And she was having great success with it, honestly. I think she told me she sent out 20 letters and got like 4 leads, which I think is pretty phenomenal, actually. To get 4 people legit. And she was in one of the deals and lost it to another investor because she basically, just what I was telling Gigi about, she basically like slowed down a little bit when I was like, go buy the house at that price. And he's like, well, I wanted to let me check on this. I'm like, don't check on anything. And she just told me she was not going to check on anything. And then she checked on something. And then the guy said, hey, you know what? I sold to someone else. We're like, yeah, just gone just like that. It was depressing for all of us, but it's just, yeah, you got to be quick because like people are on that stuff. And so it's really, if you're going to do it, you want to follow through the process. That's the process I found that works really well. And it's not that time consuming and it's very affordable if you don't want to spend a ton of money. And I will tell you that the letters are working less these days. They're getting like harder and harder. So if you're going to do letters, you want to make sure that you have the ability to really truly invest in them, right? Or can you truly invest in them? Because my personal opinion, if you don't have like $1,000 a month to spend on letters, and I know I've said 5 in the past, but it's changing and getting more competitive now. And if you're not going to be able to spend like 1,000 and then stick it out for like 6 months, you shouldn't be doing it. You got to have the ability to stick with it because sending like 1,000 out and being like, I didn't get any deals. Well, that's not going to work very well. I knew Kim actually got potentially this deal from a letter. And she was telling me that, and she got another deal you made good money on. And I can't remember, but you told me you spent a decent amount of money on letters before and you didn't get a ton of leads. And, but the leads you got sound like some of them were pretty good. So PPC's that. It says, how about mailing in Baltimore? Yeah, mailing in Baltimore works, but again, it's going to cost you money, be expensive. It's not the path of least resistance. We're still doing driving for dollars too. Well, Kim, if you're doing driving for dollars, then the question is like, if you're doing anything for any period of time and it's not working, then let's talk about why it might or might not be working, because that's always going to be something you want to dive into. So whenever you tell me, hey, I'm doing that, like the thing is, if you're doing anything for a long period of time, you've got to make adjustments along the way consistently until it works. And then if at some point it doesn't work, right, then you just have to move on. But if you're driving for dollars and you're spending your time on it and it's not getting you in front of like motivated buyers or sellers, then yeah, it's not working. So maybe there's a shift. I don't know if you're doing everything I just talked about. If not, then I would say add those things as your next like little shift to it. Like when you see the house, like walk up and knock on the door and put a little yellow pasty note. Hey, I want to contact you about, buying your home. Please call me at 123, whatever, 410 something. And like people will respond, and then send them a letter and then call them. Most effective way. And then if they don't answer any of that, start putting for sale signs in their yard. That's when you're taking it to the next level. That's a joke, by the way, just so nobody's like, what the heck? Should we use our own contract or realtor contract for the purchase? Yeah, anytime you're not doing a realtor deal off the MLS, you're always going to use the contract I've provided for you locally from Maryland. It's pretty well tested. It's the same contract I've been using for a lot of years, and it's got a lot of the cool stuff you need in it. And it's one page and it's simple. So when we wrote the contract, we were writing it not for like you to win in court. We were writing it because the biggest thing you have whenever you're doing a contract, one of the biggest concerns is always going to be like, will someone sign it? If a contract freaks someone out, they're not going to sign it. So we always want contracts to be simple and be in English. A lot of times you get a lawyer do it, it's in another language. It's lawyer language, right? I can't even understand it. And if people can't understand it, it's going to cause their spidey senses to come up, and they're going to be like, oh man, I might need to get an attorney to look at this, or have my nephew look at it, or someone review it. So we always want to be able to walk through and explain it to them, and say, hey, really minimize it. Be like, it's this, here's this, how much I'm paying. It's really simple. It's all that. So yeah, use this simple contract, because if you bust out a 38 page on them, or I think it's like 19 pages plus disclosures and all that, so it's in the 30s. You bust out on them, they're going to be like, I need to get a realtor, I need to get a lawyer, and they're not going to want to sign with you. So yeah, that's it's always big. Let's see. So that's a question. Should we use our own? Okay, thanks.
Mike,
Hey.
On that contract, I'm referring to the property that we saw. So you're basically saying take the contract that you have, not.
Oh, I'm sorry. The one that's on the MLS, what I said at first, when I first said it, is if it's on the MLS, use it. But if it's a private deal, then do not.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're going to have to, if it's on the MLS, you're going to likely have to use the realtor's contract.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
They'll write it, you sign it, they'll write it all up for you and everything. That way you don't have to worry about it. But the MLS, we don't have a choice, because realtors kind of feel like they have to use that. So most of the time we have to use that contract if we're buying something. If we're selling something, you can convince them and tell them that they have to use different paperwork in order to buy. We've done that quite often with a wholesale deal, because we need them to use our wholesale stuff. So that's very realistic and happens quite often.
How about the closing date? Is it 30 days or 40 days?
Oh, I'd ask what they want, what's important to them. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't do less than 3 weeks just for title work issues and financing and everything. 30 days is very reasonable. I don't think they'll give you a lot of pushback, but I do two things when I'm making the offer. Like, I want to give a good deposit, so like $5K. Like, I don't try to give them like 500. Make it strong that way. And if you can settle in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, just say 4 weeks. I think is fine. I usually put 30 to 3 weeks, 21 to 30 days usually.
Okay.
I don't want to try to do it sooner than that. I know for you got to get financing, but I know you'll be easy to finance because you got credit and you got a little cash. Like, you're not going to be hard to finance, and your deal is good too. So that's not going to be hard to finance, because they're going to look at the deal and be like, yeah, we want to be part of that. Hard money lenders love deals like yours because it's a high buy price point, and it's also a good like loan, like for them in general, because and it's a safe neighborhood with a high ARV, a consistently high ARV. So they like these loans when they can do one loan and get like a $250,000, $270,000 loan. They're pumped about that, because they'll be able to get nice size points and all that. They hate loans that are like, I want to borrow 100K kind of thing.
All right, thank you.
All right. How about anyone else? Let's see what else we got on. Oh, hey Marlo, and hey Ashley, how's everything going? No words means well.
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
Everything's fine on my end. I don't really have much going on. So.
How about, have you went through some of the training as far as the modules and just to getting started on like the MLS and everything?
Yes. I'm just about finishing the marketing ones.
Okay, good. And then as you go through like the dealization and how to do the MLS and all that, that you should be able to get started from there. But certainly when I'm going to be gone next week, it's the only week I'm taking off of the year. But when I come back, if you guys want, what we could do is an MLS like search, because I know there's a handful of people, including Ashley and everyone else, that would probably like to see that. There's a lot of people that are going to be looking for deals soon. So I think it'd be great to do maybe not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, or not this week, but the following Tuesday after that, we'll do an MLS search, and I'll kind of walk you guys through and come back to that again, because I think everyone's back to the point where it'd be nice to see it live, and then you can ask questions. Would that be helpful?
That would be really helpful.
Okay. Well, and then obviously a lot of what I'm going to teach is already in there, but obviously I'm doing it live. It could be interactive. Also, when I do that search for anyone who's looking for deals, I always recommend that you take that search and follow up with the deals I find. Because every time I do that search, just so you guys know, I don't think I've ever done that search more than 3 times and not gotten a deal. So that search is good stuff. Know that like there's a reason I'm picking the things and saying, oh, these are good. So if I do that search for you, know it's the hot leads, right? It's the hot stuff. And if you don't see why, then it's always good to ask questions like, oh, okay, why don't I see it? And then, we can try to come together a little bit of like, okay, what am I seeing versus what you're seeing? And we can help kind of, clarify some stuff. But it really is good for everyone to have the exercise of saying, oh, cool. These are like, because I can usually find 2 to 3 houses worth looking at. And then it would be great for you guys to look at it. And if you want on the call, as we find them, I'll also get the lockbox number for you guys and all that. So that way you can go out and check them out. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. So we'll plan on that in 2 weeks. That'll be fun. It'll be good timing too, because I know Marlo will be looking for a deal soon. You are, and Petey might be looking for a deal if they don't ever settle his. It's probably have an opportunity of saying no, Petey. They're never going to settle, man.
Yeah, no, we're still dealing with that right now.
What's the new feedback? Did they give you anything new?
So Billy and I have been working, just going back and forth with them. So right now the lien certificate is in the attorney's hand, and they're processing that through. I spoke to them last Friday, and they said it should be out by yesterday. Billy said he spoke with them today, but they're saying it's still processing through accounting.
Okay.
So I told them just to follow back up with them on Thursday so they can actually, push that out. Because
yeah,
we're closed on Monday, which is obviously not happening. So I'm going to reach out to the lender and let them know
yeah,
that it's definitely not happening on Monday. Just because I think Baltimore City still has to process things.
yeah. Okay. No, that's awesome. So you're doing a much better job than I did. I don't think I ever got as far as you because I got bored with it and didn't have time. So I never followed up like you are. You're clearly moving them forward. It's a great job on that of staying on it. And it sounds like you're going to get to the finish line. I'm impressed. Good job, because we totally weren't doing that. Like we were like just letting them kind of figure it out, because most of the time they want to settle. So we assumed they wanted to settle. And honestly, once it took a certain amount of time, I was like, well, I don't want to buy this and then have to sell it on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So I was strategically not calling them back and messing with them. But now you're trying to get it done sooner because you want to get this on for like a spring, early summer sale, because that's the greatest time of the year to sell. So you want to get yours done sooner than later. You don't want it to go 2 months or anything like that. Plus you want to get to your deal, right? Make sure you can get it going.
Now, quick question. Do you think it took forever for you to settle because of the ransomware with Baltimore City?
No, nothing to do with any of that. They, on their side, they were doing absolutely nothing. And my title company wasn't doing much. They told them like one time, what's up? And then they didn't respond for a month. And then no one was getting on the phone, bugging them, doing all the stuff you're doing. You can make anything happen if you get on the phone and just start bugging people, just going right down the line, bugging everyone. Like we didn't bug anyone. And eventually when we got to like 2 months in, I kind of don't care, because I'm like, just whenever, I'll settle and buy it. I don't care. I don't rush people. Because for me, I think like the value is going up every day they don't settle it. Like legitimately, from the time I put it under contract to now, to the spring you're selling in, is a whole different year. The comps have actually went up since like I started the thing in August. I started working on it in August, and the comps will literally be higher. So I don't really complain too much. Like because I have other deals going. The issue I backed out is because they got to a point where if I was going to settle, it was just going to be really weird timing, because I had bought so many properties, and I was like, I can't have that floating out. And then I knew what was going to happen is they were going to finally get their stuff together and be like, we want to settle in 7 days. And then they get demanding, like, we'll take your $5,000 deposit if you don't settle. And I was like, man, I don't want them like strong arming me when I have too many deals, because I literally have like 2 deals. And I just bought a deal yesterday that I didn't even need. But I came from my marketing, so I had to buy it because it was also in Pasadena, and it's a really awesome deal. And so now I got another deal I don't need. Literally, like I need to start liquidating. But And I might wholesale the Pasadena one. I'm still kind of on the fence. I probably will actually, because I need to look at all my finances and see and make a business decision of whether I'm going to keep it or not. But yeah. Anyhow, I think you're doing a great job on it, and it took forever because no one was pushing them. You're pushing them. You're staying on them, and they're just doing the job. My title person, one you're using, said that this could have been done in like 30 days or less if they just would have been doing the work. She's like, he literally just done nothing, and they won't do it no matter what. She's never seen that before. But like they're in Texas, so I think they just didn't know how to do it, and they weren't letting us help. So anyhow, you're on them now. They lost the deal with me. I think that combination of you staying on them and then having the consequence of losing my deal, now they're taking less money because of this title work issue. So that, you know, we basically, what we created was a loss for them.
Right.
The whole title work thing not getting done, I'm sure someone's paying attention to it now because they're literally taking $8 grand less because of this mistake.
Yeah. Hey.
Exactly. Awesome, right? Good for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Good for everyone.
Right.
Like that's, I'm always happy as long as it stays in the family. So, you know, it's good for everyone. Yeah. Anyhow, that's I think you're doing a good job on it. Stay on it. It sounds like you'll get settled soon. Be patient with it, but stay vigilant on their butt.
Gotcha. Okay, appreciate that. And because I guess Billy, he's lost all hope for the deal. He thinks we're just never going to settle. I'm thinking we're probably going to settle like mid-February. At what point do you think we should just say, let's leave this alone? Because I mean, February is still good timing. Anytime past that is, I mean.
Well, why so long? I mean, I thought you were saying they were just about done, and it was pretty close, right?
I think. Well, I mean, I guess I'm letting him get in my head a little bit on it.
Yeah, he sounds like he's being irrational. Just tell him stop being irrational. Tell him stop being it's he's getting emotional, right? Because he's getting annoyed. He basically done the same thing I did it, by the way. I got annoyed with it and gave it away, and that's why you got it, because I got annoyed eventually. Yeah. But I was abundantly annoyed. So I just had so much abundance. I was just like, all right, I'm done with this, man. I'm tired of even doing the phone calls with these people. So I was just abundantly annoyed. It wasn't that the deal was bad or anything. I just got annoyed, just like Billy's doing. So tell him to learn from me and don't be like, you know, soft like I was. Like, tell him he's got to step up and get tough, and like, it's a deal, right? So I never try to kill a deal unless I got a lot of deals like I did. I'll move mountains to get a deal when I don't have one, because, you know, like, not having a deal is like not where you want to be. You want to have a deal and you want to be working on it. So if I don't have a deal, you know, I'm gonna put a lot of energy and effort, just like you guys are doing. If that was my only deal, I'd be all over it like you are, and just keep doing what you're doing, because it sounds like you're making way more progress. I made none of that progress in like 4 months. So everything you're telling me is happening sounds like it's moving forward and people are actually doing stuff. And she told me if they're actually doing stuff, that this whole thing was just not that big of a deal and it would go pretty quickly.
Right, and that's what we were told too, because it was something with filing the deed in Baltimore City. So the attorneys actually received the deed from Baltimore City. So I mean, as soon as the attorneys send what they need to send over to Baltimore City, we're going to be calling the city, making sure they know us and that, you know, to move this forward.
Okay. So the attorney has the deed now, and they just need to sign it now and send it to the city or something?
Yeah, something like that. Because I think they need to sign it and do something with a lien certificate. Billy knows a little bit more about it than I do. He's the one who's been following up with them.
Sometimes that's the hard part of being like annoyingly persistent, is that you sometimes then psych yourself out, right? He's being annoyingly persistent, which is awesome, and it's going to get this deal done for you. But he's probably also getting a little annoyed because he's so persistent, and, you know, eventually get a little worn out. You just got to be like, you know, just resilient, right? Just keep doing it.
Right. Yeah, and that's pretty much how it's been.
Yeah, tell him it's like a competition, like a benching competition, and tell him you don't want to lose. Right? He'll understand that. He'll be like, I don't want to get out benched. So, you just got to stick with it, man. Make it happen. I don't see any reason not to. If you get a couple more weeks and it don't feel like anything's moving still, then you just start talking to the agent, say, what's going on? Like, why can't this person do the title work? Like, can this be moved to someone? Can you talk to your asset manager? Like, I need to know, because this already fell apart from someone else that we know. They said you guys weren't doing anything. What's the deal? Like, you guys already taken a hit on this. Like, so if you annoy them enough and he keeps falling down, like, someone will finally get the hint that someone's not doing their job, and apparently whoever that is not being overseen by anyone.
Gotcha.
If the bank that was selling this knew that they just lost $8 grand because someone just refused to go do a quick piece of paperwork, I think they would be very annoyed and pissed off by it. But I mean,
Gotcha.
problem is this
Yeah.
lawyer has not probably got anyone over him.
Yeah, and it's been pretty hard to get the agent on the phone. I mean, I don't know what to do about that. Should I just keep calling?
Yeah, just keep
And-
calling. Yep, don't take it personally. Just
Yeah,
keep calling, stay on her.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. You'll win eventually. You'll get it. You'll get it done and win. You know?
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm gonna call her actually tomorrow and see if I could, get something going on that end while Billy works with the attorney and try to get something.
Yeah,
Get
ask,
both
and ask your title company to send emails, check in on it. Just start hitting them from every angle. DEFCON 4, man. That's where we're heading to.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
what are they going to do? Like, we're not selling you the house because you annoyed us? No, man. We're annoying you to help you. We're helping you be
Right.
the best version of you. That's all. We got to hold them accountable. Which this is good practice for is your contractors. As you start working with them, you'll have to be similar, like on top of them, right? And persistent.
Okay. Well, hey, that is good practice, then.
Yeah, you're getting a little bit of practice, work through that baggage. We all have a little baggage around that. Like, I know that I don't like to annoy people. And sometimes when I'm being persistent on holding one of my students accountable or one of my workers accountable, I sometimes have this inner feeling of like, am I being like a little too pushy? So I tend to have like inner dialogue where I'm like, but then I have to realize, like, if I don't push them and stay persistent for them, then they're going to end up not doing the job they need to do, and I'm going to have to fire them. And I don't want to do that to them. I really want to keep working with them. So I have to, like, I need to get over my own crap because I know it's in their best interest. I'm not bothering anyone to do something that, like, I don't bug people to join my program. You guys never heard me do that to anyone. You're calling you every day. You join today, you join today. I don't do that because that's annoying.
Sure.
Right. But if I'm doing it because I know it's in the best interest, like if I don't stay on you, then I'm going to have to fire you and it's going to suck for you. Or like if I don't stay on someone, a student and say, hey man, you're going to get a bad result if you don't do this. That if I'm doing it in the best interest of the other person, I think it's fair. And I think that this is actually in the best interest of them because there's zero value for them keeping this property, like just paying on it. They're losing money right now. No one knows that this is happening. There's no way to kind of go up the chain a little bit to let the person who really is getting screwed know, because the banks are so big that they don't know what one hand is doing. One hand doesn't know what the other's doing, and the banks just have this stuff going on, and no one knows that this is happening. But and who are you going to call? You're going to call the CEO, right? Yeah, it's like
Right.
It's just
You know what? I just might if we don't close by February.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't close by February, then I would suggest probably like February 1st might be time to start looking for a new deal. And
Gotcha.
not saying to get rid of this one, but to do both of them in tandem, if that makes sense.
What do you mean in tandem?
So you could be under contract with this, but exploring options. And then when the thing they do that I think is actually in your favor is they don't like to do long extensions. They want to keep extending 7 days. So what that does for you, if you get something under contract today, you can just back out in 7 days. Like they're not going to have the paperwork clear. They're never going to get it done in time. So because the thing is, they'll never get it done in their 7-day extension. Just
Gotcha.
period. They're going to have it like it's all clear, and then they're going to need a new extension because they're not going to be able to do it in 7 days. So if you found something, put it under contract. You just have to time it out a little bit with your getting rid of your other deal. So we could work through that. There's some strategy behind it. And but I wouldn't worry about that at least for a few weeks. And if you don't feel like you're getting really close in a few weeks, then maybe you start in tandem looking for a new deal, just to kind of hedge your bets a little bit, in case it does end up being just a kind of a train wreck that never finishes.
And that just sucks for them.
Yeah. I just don't like to, I don't want to be completely out of control. So that's why I say recommending potentially that strategy, because we don't want to be completely out of control. So if there's a way we can, just kind of have like our cake and eat it too, then awesome. Yes, it is worth pursuing. And that's not a HUD. I don't think that's a HUD property. That's actually a bank-owned property. We have almost no HUD problems. HUD's awesome. HUD's like the most amazing thing ever. I get almost all my deals come from HUD. HUD's great. I love HUD. So HUD is the number one game in town right now because of the way the system works and the way we can manipulate it and work it to our advantage. HUD's amazing. So yeah, HUD is somewhere I would actually tell you to focus and get a real clear understanding of how to use it and what to do with it, because HUD's great. He's dealing with a bank-owned property, and it's just honestly, we had a little run of like multiple properties where they sold them and they didn't have clear title, and it could have been something to do with the ransomware. Like long term, it could have been like the ripple effect of the ransomware. It could have been. I don't think it has nothing to do with that now, but it could have been the ripple effect that got them like selling a property without actually having like any title to do so. That's a bank doing that. The bank's like, it gets weird when they try to do that. But we don't care about the problems, man. Like our job, we get paid to work through these problems. This is where you make the money. Right. So if I knew that like every bank owned deal was a complete train wreck to get the settlement, but I could get good deals, do you think I would take on that headache of the train wreck and just go ahead and get the good deals while everyone else is not? I would.
Absolutely.
I would just do it. I would just find a simpler way to do it. I would just be like, you know what? I'm going to put a system in place. If I knew this was a big enough problem, I'd hire a VA to call every day for, like $10 a day or something. Well, I'd be like, here, call my deals every day and bug them. If it was a big enough problem, I could create a system around it, but it really doesn't come up that often. I've had 2 deals this year it's come up on. This is one of those deals. This was one of them, and another one that I wholesaled to Robert. And the other one, Robert, worked itself out. Eventually, it took a couple months, but worked itself out. Beyond that, I can't even tell you the last time that's happened. I've had one, it took like a year to settle, and that was about 2 years ago. But that's like a couple deals a year max. When you're buying as many deals from the bank as I am, it would make sense that I would run into some of them that are going to be bad seeds. But they do get the settlement. We do make money on them, so I'm not complaining by any bit. And the one was actually awesome. It took a year to settle, and the thing went up $20K in value. Like it literally got it for $20K cheaper because the comps went up $20K in a year it took them to settle, and they didn't change their price. So I was like, sweet. Like, yeah, take forever. That's awesome. So anyhow, that's I try to be patient about it, but for PD, I don't want him to be stuck on it forever. And he can start hedging his bets a little and start looking. And then if this deal doesn't come through, and maybe another deal comes up, it's easy for him to swap it out, call his lender and say, hey man, would it be okay? I got another deal. Would it be okay to swap it out with this deal? Because this one just seems like we ain't never gonna get the settlement, and this new deal is cleaner and can get the settlement. Or he can look and maybe he gets a new deal, and if it's good enough and somebody else in the program wants it, he could wholesale it for a few bucks to another student. I mean, there's a lot of options. All right, if he finds another deal and you can't do both, then he always has the option of selling it off to someone or dumping the other one. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, do you think that it would be a good idea maybe to do a training on that, a HUD training? Because I find HUD deals, but because of the time frame where they won't let investors bid for that 2 weeks, 5 days, or 2 weeks, or however long it is, like right now I've gotten that I'd love to get, but it's not available for investor bids till the 24th. So
what happens? Does it sell before the 24th?
They all do. They all sell before. There's just the one that hasn't, and
yeah, so that system won't work there. Then the key to the system is that the properties are bad enough that they're not selling pre, and then they're not selling in the homeowner phase because they're in bad enough shape that homeowners can't buy them. But it sounds like yours are not in that bad of shape, or they're in good enough shape that the homeowners can buy them. So you got to have enough of them that are going to make it past that 21-day time. It would make sense to do a training, and we can plan on doing that 3 weeks from now if you'd like. So we'll plan
that'd be
on
awesome though.
And I think because everyone in general, just understanding how HUD works, where you go, how to bid, what the strategy is, we'll do that training. I don't think we have that training in the academy, so that would be pretty cool. It'd be a little bit of a special training for you guys and everyone who shows up. So we'll do that. We'll plan on 3 weeks from now. If I forget, then remind me if you're on the call, but I shouldn't. Usually try to remember this stuff. And I think it's a great training, by the way, because I am getting a lot of deals. But Kim, I'm saying for you, don't get too excited, because I remember what we just discovered. Don't spend any time on it. Like, you're wasting your time, it sounds like, on the MLS. It sounds like all your deals are just in too good a condition. There's not enough of them, and the people are willing to buy stuff and fix it up, which is a sign that you're in a market that's not conducive for buying off the MLS. Where we are, there's more deals than people can buy, homeowners, and they're in bad enough shape and they're old enough that homeowners can't take them on.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I might be stereotyping, but when I think of people from Washington, I always think of people with like hiking boots and maybe a plaid shirt on. Who seems really handy, like they're really handy with a hammer, and they'd be willing to do some work. And in Baltimore, we have people that are like big rims, and they spend all their money on credit cards, and they're like, they ain't got $5 to put together, but they can buy a house. They want turnkey. Like that's our market. They don't, like, literally they want turnkey. It's that simple. They don't want to do anything else but turnkey. So
Okay.
that's something to think about. Because when people are more handy, they'll take on fixer uppers, and it's like, oh, this will be so fun. Like, because they've got the money, the time, the energy. It may be something they do together. Because there's probably not a whole lot of other stuff to do since you're not in a big city. Like, taking a house on to fix it up might even be a cool thing to do. Here, it's kind of impossible. For a first-time home buyer, it's somewhat impossible. So anyhow, knowing your market well enough to be able to say that, now that's not going to mean that when you do marketing to people that need to sell their home and all that, that they're not going to be people in more desperate situations or houses that are in worse shape. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll
All right.
have to stay up to
Thanks.
date. You're welcome.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Everything's going good. Ashley's working on that. Marlo, everything's good. And David, how about you? How's everything going with your contractor funnel, David? I know you were working hard on it.
Yeah, it's not going too bad. Got some good hits for an HVAC and some carpentry. So I have somebody that I got in there that's doing a couple little jobs just to see how that goes, and trying to get them a little bit more jobs. But trying to get to the finish line here, man. The end of the month.
Yeah, it sounds like you're moving along too. So you have an idea about when you'll be finished?
Yeah, I'm hoping in 3 weeks. HVAC
Sweet.
is going to probably go in by the end of this week, and then water. Keeping my fingers crossed that galvanized line from the street to the house is still good, and then go from there.
Okay, cool. Well, they're working. And what are you running into any issues or anything that you could use help with that feel like it's maybe not going perfectly with the funnel?
No, the funnel's been going pretty good. I'm getting a lot of hits on that. The only thing I'm realizing now is that the guy that I had in there has just missed a lot of work, so it's costing me more now to fix.
Dude. Yeah. It's the first thing that any new contractor comes in is they come in, they like to critique everyone else's work. And then, it's never good. But you know what? I seen the house. It wasn't that bad. So don't, if there's something you're not sure about, feel free to text me or ask me about it. Because sometimes contractors like to go above and be like, oh, well, they like to talk crap. And I'm just like, dude, that's cool, man. Just like leave that alone. We're fine with it. Because they all of a sudden, it's really interesting. The guys who are usually perfectionists and like to talk about other people's stuff generally aren't that good themselves, or they're really slow. It's really because I find that like if they're negative like that, then they tend to be kind of, I don't know, not always perfect. So they're, they like to be like, oh, I'm so great. I would have never done that, but yeah, right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I'm finding stuff like, for example, he didn't run like the line for like the garbage disposal, for the HVAC roughing. They didn't run Y lines, just stuff like that I was like, oh, man.
Oh, okay, cool. Well,
yeah, he's not nitpicking.
I'm glad you're finding it then. So that's good then. So it sounds like you're getting it all done correctly. But here's the good news. I mean, the positive side of everything is you're done with that relationship. He was kind of a hole in your boat that was leaking money, and that now you stopped the leak and you're on your way, right? And now everything's going to get a lot better. So I'm really happy that you've gotten that you made this choice to get rid of them. I know it wasn't easy, and also happy to see you're using the funnel and you're going down that path. If there's anything I can help to improve, in that, then let me know, because there's always room to get better, cheaper, rock star people that are just going to go quick.
Yep. Appreciate it. Yep. Definitely. We'll let you know.
Okay. Awesome, man. Good luck. And if there's anything you need, let me know. And then last person was we and Jeff, or if you guys need anything, or Marlo, I think he's probably can't hear me. And I see, just make sure everybody's okay.
We're fine. I'm sorry.
Let's see. It's like, this is the God. It's like, hey, where are you coming from? Well, I think it's because Jeff and you will probably have your thing on potentially. Okay, everything's good. And awesome. Wait, is there anything that you need as far as estimating or anything on some of your upcoming work that you're doing? I asked her, and then I think Marlo's been texting me, so he's all good. Okay, cool. Everybody's probably eating dinner. Anything I can help with before we go?
Yeah, we're fine because we have two computers on, so there's echoes.
Hey, Mike, this is Gigi. I just have a quick question.
Sure.
I wanted to buy railing, hand railing for the stairs. Is there a store that specializes in handrails nearby?
Here for stairs for like a house you're doing now, you're saying, for your current house?
Yes.
Is it interior or exterior?
Interior.
Interior, we usually just build them because you can just build them pretty simply out of like top rail, a 4x4, and then a caff on top if you want to do it that way. So generally it's best to just put them together if it's just a straight flight of steps, right?
Yeah, but they have. Well, that's exactly what I did. But um, the Howard County came in, looked at it, and told me it has to be 3.25. I have 3.5, and the height has to be somewhat specific to their standard. I'm like, you know what?
Well, no, so that's actually, I get that, but that means you didn't put it together custom. That means that somebody either did it wrong or you bought something incorrect, right? Because if they build it custom, they're taking a top rail, bottom rail, and a 4x4, and then they're putting the pickets as far as they need to be. They find out what the code is and they make sure it's right.
This is not well, it's not the fence type. It is the rail for the steps.
Yeah, going up and down the stairs, we build those out usually. You just build them. I know what you're saying. We build those out, and we basically build them with a 4x4, and then there's called a top post that you get. There's a bottom post, which is usually a 1x, and then you'll put pickets in, and you can do all that very custom and just do it. It's a lot easier to do it that way. It's also cheaper, and a guy can do a railing in a day, one guy, and cost of materials a couple $100. Versus if you get it custom made, it's always a lot more expensive, and because they have to come custom make it and set it in and all that. So that's how we're doing it. That's kind of the simplest way. And the design of the rails, when I say 4x4, you're using an interior 4x4. You're not using like one for a deck or anything. You're getting a nicer treated looking 4. They have it in the railing section at Home Depot. You can go to the railing section and it'll have everything you need to custom make a railing to the size you need. And you can just buy all the stuff.
All right, got it. Thanks.
Cool. Because we don't usually do any custom stuff unless it's like a special metal railing we do in a higher end house. But you probably wouldn't want to do that. That's kind of modern looking. Cool. How about Steve? Is there anything I can help with, Steve? Yeah, so you popped up. I don't know if you were there.
No, I think I'm good right now, Mike.
Cool, man. Awesome. Well, if nobody doesn't have any questions, I'm going to go eat dinner. If you guys have anything, let me know. If not, forever hold your peace.
Hey, Mike, when are you leaving for your cruise again? Just
Sunday. We're going to have a call on Saturday at 9 a.m. It's going to be this link, so everybody knows. If you just save this link, it'll be 9 a.m. on Sunday. We're going to do a business plan, so we'll have all that for everyone. Obviously, so.
And then when will you be back?
Following week. We're just going for that week.
Going for a week. Okay. Gotcha.
Just missing that one Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday, we'll be back on track for everything.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Mike, I have a question. So our house is like 1,800 square feet. So you told us it's 4 tons HVAC unit, right?
3 to 4. I mean, what did the HVAC guy tell you?
I haven't asked them.
Oh, okay.
I just tried to find the price. I didn't find which website did you buy the unit?
Try Barnett's, and Barnett's I believe is in your area, or is definitely because they're part of Home Depot. Let me go. You guys can see my screen still, right? Let's see. Let me just put in 4-ton HVAC unit for sale. See if I can find it. No, obviously they're going to try to sell me that. So there you go. It's good. This is the unit. That's 14 SEER, 2,500 free ship.
You're not on screen share.
I'm not on screen share. Thanks.
No.
For some reason I did think I was. Okay, now you can see all the coolness. Shopping. So it looked like, I don't know if this is it right here or not, but let's see. I mean, you go to any site. Barnett's is one of the places we work with, and all you need is like a Home Depot account or anything. Let's see. So Goodman 4-ton stuff. It says contain packaged air conditioning, 2,500. Oh yeah, there you go. That's the whole HVAC unit, everything, 2,500.
Okay.
Material. So it's 2,500 plus it'll be about $300 for like your cool stuff and like all your wires that hook it all up. So yeah, $2,800 in material. You'll pay someone around like maybe probably like maybe $1,000 to $1,200 to install it. Let me look real quick and see, because I can tell you that a 2.5 ton is rated up to 1,600. So let me so what I would do on here is, and I can always ask my HVAC guy too, let's see if I'm asked the question, how many tons do I need for 1,800 square feet? Let's see if that actually will come up with anything. So it says, what size pump do I need for 1,800 square foot house? It says many factors. Yeah, okay, got it. No answer. Size do I need? 3.5 tons is what it says. So
Okay.
I really have a 3.5 ton, and that's why I said, so it says units that are 2.5 ton will cool off anywhere from 12 to 1,500 square feet. And it says units up to 5 ton are 2,400, and we'll need that. So I kind of jumped on us. So I think 3.5 tons makes sense, but I feel like the 4 ton might be cheaper than the 3.5 ton. So let's look and see, because I think the 3.5 ton might be a little more special because no one uses it really. Well, let's just see if it's cheaper. If it is, then just buy whatever works, right? 3.5 ton. It is cheaper actually. There it is. It's $100 less. So there you go. And I don't know if this place will deliver to you, but it looks like it says Home Air Products, and tell them you're a contractor and you call them, you should be able to get it. If not, just keep calling some people until they'll actually just deliver. You also can reach out to Ray and ask him who he's using, because he's actually got someone who'll deliver to him, and then he just gets someone to hook it up. And so you could ask him who he's using. He might be doing it through Home Depot, or he'll give you whoever he's using.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And there you go. So once you buy the materials, that's going to cut your cost down, because for like a 3.5 ton unit, a full unit, like it wouldn't be a surprise to get an $8,000 to $10,000 estimate. It would not be shocking, essentially. But when you're talking about doing this for like 2,300, like 20, they call it 2,900, and plus, right around 4K, maybe 4,200. It's pretty affordable. I think it's a really good price for that big of a house. And Goodman's totally fine. People won't care whether you do Goodman or Train. They'll be happy that it's all new, because it will be all new.
Okay.
All right.
And then ductwork would be like around $1,000 as well.
Roughly, yeah, around 1,000. My guy said depending on the house. I asked him specifically for you guys, because it was like, anytime I get a question I don't know, I ask someone else, and it's rare that I don't know. But I was like, I actually have never thought about how much the ducts are, because I've always kind of bundled it up a little bit. And he said that it's 500 for a small house, no more than 1,000 for a little bigger house. So like, yeah, for your house, I mean, you'd probably be thinking 1,000 max, just to be safe, but it could be less.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's including labor, you said?
No, that's just to buy the materials. We're always
just to buy the material.
Yeah,
okay.
It's just to buy the materials.
Gotcha.
Do you think I should get my contractor's license? It says has a rehab law that you have to be a licensed contractor to flip a house. I don't know what that means. I don't know why they would have to be a licensed contractor to flip a house. How'd you flip the last house you did? Then if you had to be a licensed contractor, are you like a...
Well, I did. Yeah, you are kind of breaking the law, but
so how hard is it to get the license? Is it like something you just go pay for, or do you have to do classes?
No, it's not that hard. It's really not about contracting. It's more about law, contracting law.
But you still have to get the license. I would look for a way around that, because I mean, it's almost no value to have your contractor's license, honestly.
Okay.
I have it because I took it from my old business to here, my flooring store, and it required me to have that to be able to sell people flooring. But I keep it just good, because every blue moon I'll write a letter for myself, but that's the only value, and I don't think it's worth getting. If, I would check into that, because I would, I think when you're like, you got to have a law, there's always a way around that, because, no one can stop you from fixing your own house up, and then no one can stop you from selling it. So who says it's a flip, right? I mean, you can say like, I fixed my house up and decided to sell it. I don't know. I mean, I think there's always ways. It's very hard for them to dictate stuff. Like Ohio, they say you can't wholesale. There's a law against wholesaling in Ohio. But do you know that as soon as they made that law, there's 17 ways around it, right? Because it's a stupid law. It's like you can't stop people from doing stuff. They just, what they're doing is they're trying to make someone happy, right? Someone complained enough that they're just trying to make them happy, but they always leave like 10 ways around it. So maybe ask like in your RIA group, and just ask like, how important is it? I have a feeling there's a way around it. It's not that. I mean, what is the consequence and what is even considered flipping a house? Because like, you're allowed to fix your own house up, and you're allowed to, take and fix it up, and you're allowed to sell it. Like, who can stop you from doing that?
Right. Yeah. Boy, I was going to ask you something, but I just lost it. But anyway, permits. Do you need a license to get permits then, if you need to get permits?
Well, I don't know if you need it, but you can hire people who have it if that's a requirement for your area. But most of the time, they do not require you to get. So the thing that's fairly standard throughout the country is they don't require you to get have a license if it's for your own self. The license to get permits is always because they want home improvement people. Like when I took my home improvement test, like you said, it's mostly law, and the main thing that they're really focusing on is you not ripping someone off and you treating people, not breaking any law, and you're following the laws essentially. But what it really comes down to is this: when you're thinking about like you're not ripping people off, you're not doing that. Well, when you're a homeowner, you have none of those risks because you're not going to rip yourself off. You're not going to treat yourself incorrectly. So they allow you to usually do like basic stuff to your house and be your own general contractor without a license, but not usually electric, plumbing, and HVAC. Some states, like I think Way said in her state, she could actually pull the plumbing thing without having a license. So it's not uncommon, but yeah, usually you can. I mean, I've never heard of a state where you couldn't do a few things yourself. So meaning you might need to get like licensed people to do HVAC, electric, and plumbing. But for the most part, you should be able to do trim doors. I mean, you might not even need a permit to do those things. Like in like most counties, you don't need a permit to put an interior door in or put some trim in. There's some that you do. They're very picky. Most of the time you don't though. Good night, HGG. See you guys later. Yeah, I would say there's likely a way around it, but find out obviously before you do your first flip and figure out what's going to take to get if you have to get your license. But I wouldn't worry about getting it until you actually have a flip.
Okay.
I feel like it would be a distraction. You'd be putting a lot of time into it. And right now I'd like to kind of focus you in on like doing only the things that work as far as getting a deal. And then just keep focusing on those. You got 2 weeks to figure out this is going to become a deal or not. Hopefully there's no second guessing or changing their mind. But then we're going to try to get some stuff going, right? Let's look at your driving for dollars, anything you could do better with that. Because if you're doing the driving for dollars and it ain't working, I want you to think of like this in everything in business. Anytime you do something long enough to know that, okay, it didn't work, it doesn't make sense to keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So it doesn't mean quit doing driving for dollars. It means adjust, right? That's our belief. We adjust and then we measure, then we adjust and then we measure. What I can conclusively tell you is that whenever you're not getting a result, if you keep adjusting and measuring and keep adjusting and measuring, it's 0 times that I've seen somebody not find a way to get a result. So when people say like, oh, well, that doesn't work here, you can't get deals on the MLS, everybody pays too much. They're basically saying I tried it, it didn't work. So my belief now, so I don't have to try it again and keep failing, because I hate failing, all of us do, by the way, is that it doesn't work. And if I tell myself this story of how it doesn't work and everyone's paying too much, it lets me off the hook to keep doing the work necessary to win. But if you take the approach of like, I'm going to do it until it works and I'm going to keep adjusting until it works, then I believe that you can make that work, right? Now, I'm not saying that for MLS, because sometimes MLS is just not got enough volume to it. And our MLS strategy does require some volume, and it requires, there being houses that are bad and not, like it does require that in order for you to snatch up on deals. The issue with your house, and the same issue that Michael's having and Gerhard's having, is the properties aren't coming on the market cheap enough. So, like even here, if I'm, one of the strategies I use, I look for people that put it on for a good price, and then I learn how to snatch it up real quick. But if none of the houses are coming on the market for a good price, they're coming on for really high prices, and then people are paying it, then it's really difficult. That's the one market is like the kryptonite to the MLS system, because it beats what we're doing. With that being said, we got about 10 different strategies that work really well. So, if MLS doesn't work, there's always something it does. Right? If there's other people flipping in your area and that, okay, there's other people running a business, then so can you.
Yep.
So if you told me there's no flippers, then I'd be like, well, where are the flippers? That's where you need to go.
Yeah.
So
okay.
We know it'll work. And I would think through maybe between now and next time we talk of like, maybe map out your process of what you're doing, how consistently you're doing it, if there's anything you can add to your driving for dollars. You heard earlier what I said, if you're doing them, then it really requires like every house you put on the list, knock on the door, stick something on the door would be great. Then if you want to do a way that maybe where you can do a letter, you could even put a letter in their mailbox, or, I'd like, if you put the thing on the door, you probably don't really need to send them a letter, honestly. So I kind of think it's easier to just go ahead and do it while you're there. I know it seems like a headache, but if you can, it's not about doing 100 houses. Like I know people are like, oh, I got 100 houses and I ain't got no deals. I mean, you'd be better served to do 20 and really nail it on the 20, right? Really knock on the door, letter on the door, send them a letter, call them a couple times, really try to engage with them and find out, like, do you want to sell your home? And if they don't, take them off the list and go to the next one. Because, yeah, I mean, it works for
Okay.
sure.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. All right, everyone. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks or Saturday. If you guys can make Saturday, it'd be pretty cool. We're going to be talking about some good stuff. I think everyone can get a lot of value from it, and look forward to talking to you guys then. Have a good evening, everyone. See you guys.